Welcome back to Originality Check, where we judge a park's coaster lineup based upon originality. To determine a coaster's originality, there are 3 points to check off. First being that the coaster was originally built at the park and was not relocated from another park. The second is that it is not a cloned model or has any other coasters that are identical to it. And the third being that it has an original name. Each coaster can rack up to 3 points each. At the end of the video, we will add up all these points together and determine the overall originality of the park's lineup. Going forward in this series, I will make a few changes to how I judge these requirements. If the coaster is a cloned model, but it was the first of its kind, I'll give it half a point instead of no point. And if the coaster is not the only coaster with its name, but it was the first with that name, I'll give it a half point too. This makes a minimal change to my past episodes in this series, so I won't bother going back to fix them. I'll just revisit those parks in a few years once they add more coasters. For this episode, we are going to one of my favorite parks of all time, Dollywood. Dollywood is one of the most beloved parks with not only coaster enthusiasts, but with the general public as well. Outside of the Universal and Disney parks, Dollywood and its sister park, Silver Dollar City, are, in my opinion, the best theme parks in the country. Dollywood has had 13 coasters in its history. Opening in 1961 as Rebel Railroad, the park wouldn't get its first coaster until 1970, when the park itself was also renamed to Gold Rush Junction. In 1975, the park would just be called Gold Rush. Then, 1976 to 1985, the park would be named Silver Dollar City, and then it was renamed one more time to its current name, Dollywood, in 1986. But hey, we aren't here for a history lesson of the park. We're here to judge the originality, so let's get to it. Before we break out the judge's gavel, if you haven't already, please make sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Helps me out immensely against that annoying YouTube algorithm. There's many parks out there that need their originality judged. I can't do it without your support. Alright, on to the judging. As always, we'll go in order from the first coaster to open to the latest. Having 13 coasters in its history, Dollywood can rack up a total of 39 possible points. The first coaster to open at Dollywood was Scamper, opening in 1970 and closed in 1972 or 73. This was a Wild Mouse coaster that was located where the Country Fair section of the park is today. Scamper was a relocated coaster from Cedar Point, so no point there. This was a common coaster model, many of them were made, so no point there either. The coaster was also called Scamper at Cedar Point, but no other coasters share this name, so I'll give it a point there. 1 point for Scamper. Blazing Fury, opening in 1978, and continues to amaze riders with its state-of-the-art theming and animatronics. It's so real, it's like you're there. This is mostly a powered coaster, but it has 3 drops in it that are gravity dependent, so it does count as a coaster. This was built in-house by the park's maintenance team, and this coaster is about as original as it gets. I don't think there's any debating that. 3 points across the board. Thunder Express, opening in 1989 and removed in 1998. This was a hybrid aero mine train coaster, located where Tennessee Tornado is today. This coaster has been relocated quite a few times, originally being built at Six Flags St. Louis in 1971 as a River King mine train, then was relocated to Dollywood in 1989, then would be relocated one more time to Magic Springs, being removed from Dollywood in 1998 and reopening at Magic Springs in 2002 as Big Bad John. I've ridden this coaster at Magic Springs. If I hadn't known that this coaster was relocated twice, I would never have guessed it. This coaster works so well with the terrain at Magic Springs, and it looks like it did pretty well at Dollywood too. On to the points. Obviously no point for being original to the park, but it is not a clone coaster, so 1 point there, and the name is original too, so 2 points for Thunder Express. Tennessee Tornado, opening in 1999. This was the last custom looper built by Aerodynamics before they went under. Of all the custom loopers I've been on, this is easily my favorite, besides Loch Ness Monster for nostalgic reasons. It's a very short ride, but goddamn it is incredibly intense, super smooth, perfect pacing, but how original is it? It did originally open at the park, it's a custom layout, and no other coasters share this name, so 3 points for Tennessee Tornado. Thunderhead, opening in 2004. This GCI twister coaster is the best GCI that I've been on. There are a few in Europe that could give it a run for its money, but as of right now, this is my favorite GCI. Yes, better than Mystic Timbers, fight me. This originally opened at the park, it's a custom layout, and no other coasters share this name, so 3 points for Thunderhead. Sideshow Spin, opening in 2005 and removed in 2016, being relocated to Kentucky Shores Family Fun Center. This was an L&T system mini coaster with a single helix. It opened with the name VeggieTales Sideshow Spin, and was renamed to just Sideshow Spin in 2012. This did originally open at the park, but there are a few clones of it. Both names that the ride had were also original. So 2 points for Sideshow Spin. Mystery Mine, opening in 2007. This is easily the most bizarre Gerstlauer coaster that I've been on. Wonky layout, great theming, solid finale. It's just a fun ride. This did originally open at the park. It's not a cloned model. The name Mystery Mine was used once before at Adventure Asia Park. However, that ride is now defunct, so Dollywood's Mystery Mine is now the only coaster with that name today. There's always something that makes you question how to judge these coasters. It may not have been the first coaster with this name, but since it is the only remaining coaster with that name, I'll give it a half point. I'm adding this scenario to my notes for the future. 2.5 points for Mystery Mine. Wild Eagle, opening in 2012. This was the first B&M wing coaster in North America. It's not the biggest and baddest one out there, but it doesn't have to be that to be a super fun ride. This ride is simply fun and it holds its own. It does not deserve the hate that it often gets from coaster enthusiasts. One tiny detail that I love about this ride is while you're waiting in the station, you can literally hear bald eagles chirping from the eagle sanctuary that is nearby the ride. So, theming, I guess? This did originally open at the park, it's not a clone, and it has an original name. 3 points for Wild Eagle. Fire Chaser Express, opening in 2014. This is a cute and wonky Gerstlauer family coaster. A little bit rattly, hell, a lot of it rattly, but still fun, cute, and it fits the park perfectly. And it is original all across the board. 3 points for Fire Chaser Express. Lightning Rod, opening in 2016, and one of the most problematic coasters ever built. This coaster has had many changes made to it in its life, and is currently going through debatably the biggest change yet, having its launch replaced with a high-speed chain lift. So it's no longer a launching coaster, which was kind of the main selling point of the ride, being the world's only launching wooden coaster, and I'm pretty sure no more will ever be made again. Lightning Rod is also a pretty polarized coaster in the coaster community, some claiming it to be the best RMC out there, and others saying it's mid to lower tier. I say it's mid to lower tier. I don't get the hype behind this ride. Sure, it's great in the front row, but many other RMCs blow this out of the water. Anyways, how original is it? It was originally built at the park, no clones of it, and the only coaster with the name. So 3 points for Lightning Rod. Whistlepunk Chaser, opening in 2017. There's not too much to say about the Scamper family coaster. It has some cute theming. The train with the steam coming out is cute. This did originally open at the park, however it is a cloned model. Pretty sure this is the same exact coaster as Coco Cruiser at Hershey Park. But the name is original, so 2 points for Whistlepunk Chaser. Dragonflyer, opening in 2019. This Vekoma suspended family coaster was the headline attraction of the new Wildwood Grove section of the park. For a family coaster, this ride is pretty intense. It's butter smooth, nice pacing, and just super fun for a family coaster. This did originally open at the park, but there are many clones of it in Europe and Asia, so no points there. But the name is original. 2 points for Dragonflyer. And last is Big Bear Mountain, opening in 2023. This is the second coaster for the Wildwood Grove section of the park, and is now easily the headline attraction for that area. This Vekoma family launch coaster is one of, if not the most fun family coasters I've ever been on. Super long ride, incredibly smooth, some surprising forces. The onboard audio is also cool. Sure, it doesn't have too much theming behind it, but once the trees around this coaster grow in, it'll add even more to the ride experience. Obviously, this originally opened at the park, no clones of it exist, and the name is original too. 3 points for Big Bear Mountain. Already, we've gone over every coaster in Dollywood's history. The total possible points for Dollywood was 39 points, and Dollywood scored 32.5 points, giving Dollywood's coaster lineup 83% originality. I was actually expecting Dollywood to score a little bit higher than 83%, but I guess being a park with a smaller to medium-sized lineup, every point matters. Despite that, Dollywood is still absolutely one of the greatest parks in the world, and I have no doubt that any future coasters will be just as amazing, if not even more amazing. This park has blossomed into a world-class attraction, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for this amazing park. And that's a wrap on this episode of Originality Check. Did Dollywood score higher or lower than you expected it to? Comment down below. What parks do you want to see next in this series? This series seems to be a favorite among you all, so I really want to keep pumping out more of these episodes. Also check out my new series, Epic Excursions. This is my favorite style of editing, and it's nice to just appreciate the beauty of a park, especially during the off-season. Alright guys, I'll wrap the video up here. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next loop.